Welcome to the 3M Talk Show. This is an introduction podcast. Um, Long overdue. Been wanting to do this since like August or something, but like shit got delayed, shit gets delayed. But now we're here. The 3M Talk Show. I don't know what it'll bring you. I hope it brings you fortune. But look, this is something which I wanted to do for a while. I don't know. I've always been interested in podcasts. Wanted to always have a podcast of my own. This is an introduction podcast, signifying that yes, baby, we're here, and that we'll take over. We'll take over for sure. And yeah, new episodes every week. I'll try to do it twice a week. Twice a week could be hectic with like this college shit going on, but I'll keep this shit on the priority and I'll try to do it twice a week. I promise. Where am I right now? I'm at my college. I'm shooting this from my hostel room, like with this lighting and all, like with a mic, a decent mic, an iPad, a laptop, few books. That's it, and a good chair to sit on. That's it. That's the budget we've got for now. But yeah, um, um, let's talk. Like, what do we have to talk about? Okay. Look. Okay. 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 Right. Here we go. The niche. What is this podcast gonna be about? Look. The thing is, I'm not a guy to have niches, to believe in niches, or believe in types. Just like look at just Joe Rogan for example. Like, is his podcast any type? Does he belong to any like podcast like any type, any genre? Does his podcast belong to any genre? No, it's just a free flowing conversation between two individuals. Um, and or more than that, and it can be whoever, and that's what my intention is with this podcast, and that's it. Look, I know that the niche somewhere is going to be about hip hop and rap because that's what I'm constantly interested in. Like that's my constant interest. Like throughout the year, that's one thing I'm very loyal to, and that's what I end up talking about whenever I have a conversation with whoever. So I think that's gonna be a niche like Joe Rogan in UFC. Um, but yeah, other than that, I don't think I'm not a man to have types. So that's it. Coming to that, since we've hit the bell, now last week was it last week? Yeah, it was last week. Young Thug, um, came out. His lawyer came out with like an explanation to the court that young thug, the thug in it, actually meant truly humble under God. I mean, that isn't that like so ironic? Like gangster from Georgia, truly humble under God. Like, isn't that crazy? Um, but Young Thug's really impressive though, honestly. Um, the way he pushes positivity, no, I'm kidding. The way he got through everything. Growing up, when he was like 18 or something, he looted a bank. That was his first public robbery. Um, then he took over the industry. Like there was a certain artist who went to the jail, if I'm not wrong, and handed over his record label, his studio, to Young Thug, and he pretty famous rapper. I'm forgetting the name. Why am I forgetting the name? I don't know. It's just out of my mind right now. So, yep, that's Young Thug. I think that Young Thug's and Drake song, like, was it a Young Thug and Drake song? Was it a Young Thug and Drake song, Over the Top? Um, over the top. Was it a young thug and great thing? Let's check it out. Over the top. Nah, it was Smiley. Young Thug and Drake song. There was this. Ah, this one, yeah. Oh, you went, yeah.
Pearls. Hey, you with Chanel pearls. Hey, you with Rolls Royce car.
Okay, now I remember. So yeah, this song is pretty dope. I remember listening it with a friend like pretty recently, and I didn't even know that Young Thug and Drake ever collab, and I was like, damn, this shit is crazy. Um, but yeah, since we've brought up Drake's name, let's talk about Drake. Drake, I think, recently hit the 90 billion streams like point in his Spotify career, and I think that he's the only artist to do so. And Taylor Swift hasn't done that. Nah, but yeah, he's generally the only artist to do that in the entirety of Spotify, and I think that's pretty crazy. That's pretty good. And the reason why I've always kind of appreciated Drake, I don't look. Drake is a little zesty now. He's a little over the top. Like he pretends. I'm not. I'm being too cautious with my words. He's too zesty now. The reason is he knows it sells. He knows it sells. Drake being zesty, he knows it sells. Certified Lover Boy was after that. It was just complete zesty. Scary Hours. Sorry, this for all the dogs. Scary Hours edition was a pretty decent album. And but coming back to the point, he is zesty because he knows it sells. Rich Flex, he knew it would sell. He's a business mastermind. He just knows what sells. Drake knows that when you hit up a girl's DM and ask her to fly with you, and then you go on to her husband's DM and say, like, treat her nicely or something like that. That actually happened. Drake actually he went to a girl's DMs. Um, he asked her to fly with him, and then he went to the guy's DMs, and he was like, "You don't treat her nicely, like I treat her nicely," like something like that. It meant this, but it was a more like Drake version of it, like Drake the type of guy to do that shit. So yeah, it's actually happened. And the internet went crazy when that happened. So Drake is the type of guy to get attention to these things. Drake is the guy to put hot sauce and shit. If you know, you know. And so all that shit Drake does because he knows it would sell. Simple. He knows it would sell. It does sell. That's he bounces. He knew that his beef. He knew that his beef with Kanye would sell. It's all Drake's out the picture. And yeah. Um, that's it. Like Drake's pretty good at that. You know who else is good at that? Future. Future is really being good at pretending. He's not pretending. I don't think Future is in a character. Future, maybe he is the. I won't say toxic, but few. I mean, it is toxic is a very relative word. Like it may be toxic for somebody, it may not be toxic for me, or it may be. toxic from some guy's perspective and not from the other guy's perspective. I won't call him toxic. Future may be a very controversial. The way he treats women or the way he's been with women, the allegations on him, all of that. But I'm not saying good or wrong. I'm not going into good or wrong. But the thing is that Future, he knows it would sell. When he makes a hard to choose one, when he makes a for a nut, he knows it would sell. That's why he's making those songs, and that's it. And I don't think it's wrong though. It's a perfectly perfectly okay thing to do. Future is completely right in doing that, but there you go. Like, I think for some reason, because maybe that's my Kanye fan bias coming into picture, but for some reason I think Kanye is very genuine with who he is. He's honest, like Andrew Tate. As soon as I compile Kanye West and Andrew Tate's name in the same sentence, people are gonna lash out at me for that, even though 5 people are gonna watch this shit. But look, the reason why the 5 people, the reason why I am talking about these two guys, I'm not a supporter of these two guys. I'm not a supporter of anyone in this world. I'm a pretty selfish kind of a guy. But I look, the reason why I'm bringing their name up is because they express themselves. They express what they feel like and then don't change that stand. To understand them better, you need to understand them in their habitat, not from third person criticism. Like, for example, if Andrew Tate says a lot of shit about something, or maybe he made a podcast 10 years ago about joking about, let's say, how women can't drive. Now, 10 years ago, maybe in that context, it may be a joke. Stand up comedians joke all the time. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that it's wrong. Listen to me first, very carefully. 10 years ago, let's say he cracked a joke, and that joke was very misogynist from a daily conversational status or standard. Now, if you come, like, if you cut that shit out and post it today, if you clip that shit out and release it today, people are gonna hate him. Now, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not saying that he's completely. It will be completely like it will be completely wrong to say it to say that Andrew Tate is not a misogynist and Kanye West is not anti-Semitic. Like I I feel personally that something is really wrong with those guys. But look, are they overhated? Are they overhated? Yeah. And why do I say that? Because people hate them without any reason. They just follow the crowd. Okay, Taylor Swift's booming. I might as well hate Kanye. Okay, fucking yes, I was hating on Andrew Tate. I might fucking hate Andrew Tate too. And that's not how it works. I think a lot of things that he says are actually I relate with them and I believe in them and I think they're true. Like a very good example is that like if you want to really study these two guys, let me suggest two podcasts. Um, this George Yanko podcast with Andrew Tate, which I think released like 2 days ago. This podcast, I listened to the entire podcast. I listened to the entire podcast, and it was really good. Like it was really more of a discussion because if you watch Andrew Tate with Piers Morgan, then it's gonna be a one-sided rant, a one-sided more like an interrogation, and that's not what you want it to be. You want it to be a discussion. You want it to be him to be heard as well, so that you know what's going on in his mind. And that's what exactly happened in that George Yanko podcast. And I think honestly, nobody would be able to cover Andrew Tate as good as George Yanko did. And I genuinely feel nobody, even people who want a discussion with Andrew Tate would somewhere disagree, somewhere fall off. have a strong opinion, counter on him, and that would ruin the entire genuinity of the podcast. Um, Andrew Tate's podcast with George Yanko, Kanye Tate, Kanye West's podcast with Lex Friedman. I think this podcast I think was also a discussion, even though Lex did push on the narrative. Lex did ask, even though Lex did ask for an apology again and again. I think that's completely fair. I think that's a whole different topic. We don't have to talk about. Fuck. Kanye Tate, Kanye West's podcast with Lex Friedman. That's what you should check out to really know who Kanye is. I think Kanye is a really misunderstood guy who's living under that shadow of being misunderstood now because that actually sells. Same logic. And he's a businessman. He would want it to sell. And so, yeah, these two podcasts, go check them out. If you're listening to this on YouTube, you might as well have the link in the description. Professional shit. Um, but yeah, if you actually want to know these guys, I think you should go check these things out. Um, and the thing about these things is that when Andrew Tate talks about being feminine, being masculine, misogyny, gender roles, these are heavy conversations. And I think no one's got it right because there is no right. There are just individual experiences. Individual experiences which you can put in your life. And does it gather attention? Obviously, it will gather attention because he speaks from his own perception in his individual opinion, and I think especially Andrew Tate is someone who's very transparent. That's what I believe in. So maybe that's more reasons for people to relate with him. The thing about Andrew Tate is, look, a lot of his shit is bullshit. A lot of it is I don't like. I genuinely don't agree when he talks about women can't park. Like that's fucking that's stupidity. Like that's like fucking show me like something to back that shit up. Obviously, that's like the time when he said men can cheat but women can't. That was fucking bullshit. But the thing is that the thing is that when he talks about these little things, like in that podcast, he was talking about every human has a prime emotion, like a base emotion. For him, that is pride. For some people, that's fear. That shit was true as fuck. Moments in that podcast which were true as fuck. That's what I'm talking about. Andrew Tate is a guy who's very transparent. And if people relate to him, to his experiences, I don't think there should be a problem with it. Um, Even though a lot of it, the things he said is completely unagreeable to a huge extent. Um, yeah, with that, I want to wrap this shit up. We're gonna have a guest in the second episode. Stay tuned for that. It might drop real soon. I don't know when it's gonna drop. Maximum a week, minimum 2 or 3 days. Since this episode drops. Take care. Have a good whatever night, evening, morning, day, and be right back.